Grindle or something.
It was a shotgun.
Say the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Let the roll call show that everybody here is present and we do have a quorum. Those of you would like to join me in prayer, please do. Lord, we are all gathered here to do your bidding and look for your guidance on helping us govern the town of Shoshoni. I hope you guide us to make good, sensible decisions better for the betterment of our citizens. In this your name I ask. Amen.
Amen.
Got a motion to approve the agenda.
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second it.
Been moved by Councilman Whitener and second by Councilwoman Harkey to approve the agenda. Any further discussion? None being, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, the same. Motion passed, all in the affirmative. Let's move communication to the citizens, Ken Condo, down to the round table.
Ken just running behind.
Pardon?
Yes, Ken running behind.
No, Ken will not be here. It was a miscommunication on my part.
Oh, no worries.
Yeah, we have some things to talk about. And I
Yeah.
figured that round table is the appropriate place to put it.
Yeah.
Nobody has.
I'll make the motion to move it to the round table.
Councilman Hartsey moved and second by Councilman Stetler to move the Ken Condo discussion to the round table. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Both the same. Motion passed on the affirmative. Thank you. Consent agenda approval of the minutes, May 13th, 2025. And a motion to approve.
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
Been moved by Councilman Whitener to approve the minutes. Can I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Councilman Nordine. Any further discussion? None being, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, the same. Motion passed on the affirmative. Approval of the bills, May 14th, 2025 to May 27th, 2025. Can I have a motion to approve the bill?
I'll make the motion to approve.
Been moved by Councilwoman Hartke. Can I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Stetler. Discussion. Anybody have some discussion on bills?
If you could just touch bases on what the payment is, the Department of Workforce Services. Not questioning it, just what probably was talked about last meeting. I obviously wasn't here, so just making myself aware.
That's our monthly,
Workers'
every, yeah,
Workers' comp.
yeah, workers' comp.
Not sure if it was
Yeah, these are our monthlies.
Good question. We don't know, we need to ask. Any other questions? I see no other questions. All in favor, say aye to approve the bill, May 14th, 2025,
Aye.
May 27th, 2025.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed, all in the affirmative. Move on down if I'm not missing things, unfinished business. Travel reimbursement policy. We have everybody here to discuss that.
So this form is a modification of what we use at the college, for the travel voucher. So this is just a list of the dollars that was expended. It's spent. So it just kind of shows the itemization for that. To be blunt, I don't know if GL account number is the right thing to say there. I need some guidance on that.
It's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, because I kind of pulled some of the stuff out. It's kind of hard to work with. I couldn't take out stuff and change lines, move lines. It's like, oh my goodness. Because I was gonna take out the return date, leave date, because we have the date and the
Yeah.
expenses when there's more than one, but it wouldn't come out. So I left it.
I guess you can only steal so much.
I know. I modified as much as I could,
Good.
but the GL account number, yeah, that works for coding.
Okay.
On my end, not on the end of the user.
Got a motion to approve as presented.
Move to approve the travel and reimbursement policy as presented.
I'll second it.
Been moved by Councilman Stettler, second by Councilwoman Hartke. Discussion. I have a few things I just wanted to touch bases. I believe I still have heartburn over the 50-mile policy.
Put an apple in your pocket.
I still have heartburn over a 50-mile policy. If I'm in Thermopolis on business, that is not 50 miles.
But if
I
you're
think if
longer-
you're representing the town, if anybody else is representing the town of Shoshoni on business. I even looked at what the documentation you brought up first, Tammy, on state. They
Yeah,
even have provision for a person that lives in their own town while they're on business to eat lunch in the hometown they live in and being reimbursed if they're eating in a cafe, even in their hometown. That's state policy, for their employees.
well, if you spend 6 hours there, they'll buy you lunch.
Well, pardon?
There's a thing on here for exception. If you're there for 6 hours, they'll pay for your lunch, even if it's less than 50 miles.
And but if we're there, what if you're there 5 hours? I mean, 5 hours. What if you're there on a business lunch? And the business lunch is not paid for by anybody else? What if the client, and that happens multiple times, they wanna, well, if it's down in Casper, that's not an issue, but it can happen in Riverton, and it did last year in Thermopolis, where it was a business lunch. And, and that helped land Curry rail car service here. But I mean, if it's a business lunch, I still feel if you're working, if you're representing the community, whether you're a councilman or anybody else, that if you're representing in that instance, that should be covered. That's just,
Do you have a discretionary fund?
but that a discretionary fund, yes, but the discretionary fund, could still be brought into question. Why did I spend the discretionary fund? I don't know if, that still couldn't be brought in. Maybe legal counsel can respond that, but I'm concerned if we're missing, if it doesn't fit into this, it would maybe not be
I
for
may-
me to pay for it with discretionary fund. I don't.
I may be speaking on everybody's behalf, but if makes only sense, if you're at an actual business meeting with potentially Curry Rail Service or whoever that next entity may be, I think all four of us up here, granted, I may be speaking on everybody's behalf, have enough realization and realistic in us that I think everybody would be okay with that scenario for a business lunch. Maybe I'm speaking out of turn, but I guess maybe I should only speak for myself. But to me, it would make sense. However, I think the 50 miles is more than fair.
And I done some research on hours and try to, it's usually what you find is employees and not elected officials. And else you pull off what the state, you know, I mean, that's what you get up. And I, found in many instances, 5 hours, if he was involved with 5 hours, then a meal would be allowed. But it's just, that's, I don't know, if I get working or anybody else gets working on for the town, that was just, I just wanted to bring that up. Then it's for the council to digest and do but I just wanted to bring that up again, because I've looked at it, so. But, and I don't know if we make this is an ordinance, and then maybe through even with the discretionary fund, maybe we would be able to do it.
Mark,
But it's policy, not an ordinance.
Was this just a policy and not an ordinance?
Correct.
Yeah,
Mark,
Oh, okay, then that's different.
Mark, your president president of the college doesn't fall under any other different guidelines, do they? Guidelines are the same, black and white.
Yeah, they pretty much are the same. However, they are the same, and the IRS, as I understand it from our business office, has really been starting to cracking down on meals. I mean, that's kind of been a big area that's been a concern with the auditors coming in and the other, well, just in accounting in general. So meals have always been an issue. So there always had to be an additional reason in order for the college to be able to pay for food. And it's more than meals, it's even food. So but it had to be associated somehow with the business. So if I were to, from a division meeting and we wanted to have some refreshments with that would be legitimate because it's a division meeting. But so I guess we just have to be careful. I was listening to Joel and, reading the intent again on this, and I was wondering if, it could be a part of the travel request. Where, if we need that a part of the what?
On there, if you read it, there's a disclaimer in there that says that all other travel that's requisition can be paid in part or partial, and that it comes before council to look at it and justify it before payment's made. So in that case, if you did buy a lunch that you felt is warranted, and then you submit the paperwork, and then after the fact inform the council, this is what I was there for, and the council could say, okay, we'll pay for that.
Yeah, part of the travel request is, meals,
But
I mean, it's a part of that. So if we had approved that here,
As long as it's a business meeting and not just going there to meet with people that you could run home later and go eat.
Well, yeah, that, I don't do that. I do not. I do not.
See, and part of the policy, it says no payment will be processed for reimbursement of travel expenses, including meals, which are not pre-approved. So if they're not pre-approved travel, then it won't be processed for reimbursement until after the council's approved it. So if I or Joel or whoever goes on travel, like, okay, I'm within 50 miles, but I'm here for a meeting, and it's taking 5 hours while I'm here. And in the midst of that meeting, there's lunch, you know, say it starts at 10 o'clock and it's at 3 o'clock.
Right.
Okay, it's not 6 hours, it's 5 hours. But obviously, and then I would pay for the lunch, and then I would fill out this paperwork, and then the council say, so why, I was here for this reason, okay, it's approved and it's reimbursed. But the reimbursement means you pay for it out of pocket and you get the money back.
Excuse me, but we have, concern is, well, you know, pre-approval, I get a call. We get a call, you gotta respond to it. We don't have time to pre-approve it, so you're saying we can bring it, we bring it in and then it's approved after the.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah, if it's not, yeah,
You would-
it's
you
not
would
practical to
individually
pre-approve
be-
every
You
meeting.
would individually be responsible. And then you would be reimbursed by the
For your
town.
mileage, if
You
applicable
would
as
still
well.
turn it in
Sure,
to
correct.
me, and then I would put it in the packet for the next council meeting
We could amend
for
it
approval.
to say within 50 miles of Shoshone, with the exception of town business lasting beyond 6 hours and approved
It's right
business
here.
lunches.
It's already there.
It's already there.
It's already on there, Jake.
Regardless how far.
Where?
One, you know, representing the town, some mean, one
And
thing, keep in
approved.
mind is the difference between.
And I'm saying
Us.
add and approved business lunches, not pre-approved, not post-approved, and approved business lunches, which leaves a lot of leeway for council to approve the business lunch or not. Sure.
Well, and I'd say approved meals, because they
A
can
meal,
also,
correct.
it could be lunch or it could be dinner or both.
Right.
I may be meeting, I've met a couple times with Dr. Idlechick at 6 AM in Casper. 'Cause that's when he's available. And that's not lunch there.
But that's more
Typically
than,
turn it.
but that's more
More
than
than
50
50
miles.
miles.
Well, sure, but I'm just saying it can be it can be any time of the day or night.
Yeah.
And
Meals versus individual lunch breakfast.
I honestly think the more we look at this and the more we try to scrutinize it and twist this, we're gonna twist this. And then we're gonna need to twist this, and then we're gonna need to twist this. So,
I'm just doing this for some clarification, so we.
No, I
so we-
understand. I
so we
just-
all understand.
I just think, it's black and white here. If you're at that 5 hour mark and you choose to have lunch. What that lunch entails. You submit the receipt, this form, you get reimbursed. I feel like this is. You know. I know. 2 years ago, my company. Reimbursed you, however. They didn't do company cards. There was no company credit cards. Everything was out of pocket, so if I flew to Reno. To go to my location out there in Fernley. I had to pay for my plane ticket. I got reimbursed, but you're talking $1,300 out of your account like that. Then you rent a car, there's another $600-700. So there was times when I was traveling for these guys where I would submit reimbursement of upwards of $5,000 with flight, hotel, car rental, fuel, etc.
But
And
you
then your
understand,
meals
yeah.
when you're there for 7 to 10 days. And it sucks. It does suck. But I think everybody has I hope has a safety net of at least $150 to cover dinner to be resubmitted. So I feel like our policy's solid right now.
I do too.
And in due time, maybe it don't work and we have to adjust. But I think for right now, I think we have something concrete to put in place. And potentially we build on it or adjust it. But how are we gonna know until we get rolling, right? I mean. Every policy and procedure, that's why you do policy and procedure review. You do have to tweak things to work for certain. And maybe we will look at it in 6 months and go, holy crap, what were you thinking? We probably should revamp this whole thing. But I think we need to put this in effect and then we can look at it.
Well, that was my intention. I just wanted to have this discussion we just had so we could kick around. We have an understanding instead of making this,
Yeah.
assumptions.
No,
That this is-
absolutely,
This is what
absolutely.
this is for.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree, I agree.
Yeah.
Be clear, cut and dry and all be on the same page. I agree.
And also keep in mind, one of the differences we are than the college. And we're all elected officials here, and the IRS isn't. We don't answer to the IRS like college does.
We don't. They don't care what we do.
We don't pay income tax.
Well, I understand that, but,
Okay. Yeah,
there's still accounting principles that are applied and,
Right.
no,
you know,
no, we follow their guidelines on,
Yeah.
that's where we're adopting basically their guidelines on expenses.
I understand about the taxes, but they really are the budget kind of, they're kind of the gold standard for all of that, It's their rules that really kind of drive mileage and other things, so. The IRS is kind of important. I understand we don't pay taxes. I get that.
Yeah,
but,
we don't pay taxes.
Yeah. So I'm fine with, let's give it a test drive.
No,
Let's
I am.
go through the process and see how it works, and I'm glad we had the discussion. And I think Jordan is absolutely right. We're gonna find things we might want to change. We may find things we want to add,
Right.
But it could go all sorts of different ways, but I think the fact that we're doing something with it gives us, some good credible, I think, approach to how we manage that.
Mhm.
So,
Any further discussion? None being, all in favor, say aye. Aye, pose the same. Motion passed, all in the affirmative. New business, town of Shoshone fiscal year 2026 budget, first reading.
I'll read it.
Okay, chief.
Well, just a look she gave reading this, I'll take care of it. Ordinance FY 2026 be ordained by the governing body of the town of Shoshone, Wyoming. Whereas on the 23rd day of May 2025, the Shoshone clerk Kim Riley prepared and submitted to the council budget for fiscal year ending June 30th, 2026. Whereas such a budget was duly entered at large upon the records of this council, and a copy thereof was made available for public inspection at the office of the Shoshone Town Hall. And whereas notice of a public hearing of such budget was published in the absence of a local newspaper via general circulation in the town of Shoshone, including an official town of Shoshone online resources accessed by the public. Whereas a public hearing was held on such budget at the time and place specified in said notice, at which time all interested parties were given an opportunity to be heard. And now therefore be resolved by the governing body of the town of Shoshone, a budget be adopted as the official town of Shoshone budget for fiscal year 2026, year ending June 30th, 2026. Be it further resolved that the following appropriations are as provided for an ordinance FY 2026 be made for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2026, and that the expenditures of each officer, department, or spending agency be limited to the amount herein appropriated. Be it further resolved by the town of Shoshone approves a general tax levy of 8 mills on all taxable property of the town of Shoshone. The town of Shoshone has a memorandum of understanding with the Fremont County Fire Protection District to provide fire protection for the town of Shoshone. The town of Shoshone approves to send Fremont County Fire District 3 mills of the 8 mills from the general tax levy is provided by law for fire protection. Section 1, the following sums of money for the objects and purposes herein specified, which are deemed necessary to defray expenses and liabilities for the town of Shoshone for the period July 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2026, and shall be set aside for the following purposes: general administration, $234,513. Mayor and council, $29,924. Municipal court, $93,329. Streets and alleys, $53,146. Parks and recreation, $47,296. Airport, $500. Fire Department, 20,275. Police Department, 653,355. Library, 1,000. Water, 227,916. Wastewater, 169,505. Capital projects, 2,260,926. Senior housing, 72,944. Medical clinic, 8,100. Total, 3,872,729. Section 2, providing further that the Shoshoni Town Council recognizes the need to raise the minimum monthly rates for water and wastewater to stabilize the enterprise fund due to unexpected increases in production and need for repairs and upgrade, and therefore necessitates increasing both water and wastewater rates. The base rate for water will increase $3 and wastewater $2 per month. The increased rate is required to ensure fiscal solvency as mandated by law and provide for required upgrades and repairs. The water minimum usage allowed per month will remain at 10,000 gallons per unit and $3 per 1,000 gallons in excess of the minimum usage. Bulk water will remain $8 for residential customers. And that shouldn't say increase, it should remain $16 for commercial customers. Effective date of rate increase will be July 1st, 2025.
Chief, the base rate for water will remain the same at $2 or be increased to $3?
Increase $3.
It'll be increased $2 and wastewater will be increased $3.
You have the other, you have the old one.
Yeah.
I already caught,
Oh,
I already
I-
caught that.
Yeah,
okay, that's what I.
that was what the council talked about. The last meeting was $3 for water, $2, and it just got transposed. So the copy you're looking at was the original copy, not the actual copy that was filed.
Just questioning that. Okay.
I did too.
It's a lot to read. Some things to quickly point out after I sat down finally till 2:30 in the morning and redid all of our grants and what we actually have, what we're actually coming in, what's going out for the whole year and going into next year since we're in June. And so our account balance is right now is budgeted. We have a surplus currently of 70,000 for all accounts, $70,132 budget instead of 24,000. So we're a lot better off than the budget workshops we did once we got the final numbers and we're able to finally put that together. The general fund, which does not consist of the enterprise funds, has $52,392. That wasn't, if we're doing zero balance budgeting, wasn't budgeted. So that's, you can call it a surplus on paper, whatever you want to call it. But right now, revenues versus expenditures have a surplus of $52,392 in the general fund, which I think every year we usually try and have a surplus built into it. So we could make changes throughout the year if needed without having to come up with new revenues.
Is that common to what we typically carry for?
You can look back. So on this is the actual budget sheet. So if you look on the top, FY 2024 budget, we carried 54,000 overall, but we actually had a negative 26,000. So we were subsidizing capital projects that year with the general fund. This year, capital projects has a little bit of a surplus, which is mainly from the 1% sales tax for capital projects, not fully being expended, gives us that extra money. So 2025, it was reversed. We had a deficit in the general fund budgeted. But that was offset throughout the year because we had all those projects going on. So it was being subsidized largely from taking out of savings and stuff to pay for all the water projects, depreciation, all that stuff. So that threw that off. But yeah, so this year is the first year we've had where all accounts are in the positive.
Well, that's a positive.
I mean, not by much,
No pun
$2,000 in one, it's not a lot,
Right.
but it's better than having a negative starting out.
No pun intended, right?
But you also notice we still have a final draw on our savings, and the idea is that's included into these budgets. So the idea would be to pull less out of savings and not spend it all just because we budget for it. Would be ultimately the goal to do. Which is not nearly as much as years past, as the projects that we got going are winding down, $8 million in projects. That's a lot of
Right.
outgoing money. Not from the town, we get reimbursed for it, but there's a percentage depending on the grant that we have to pay out of
The
pocket.
match.
The match, correct. And that's decreasing each year. This will be the last year. So after this year is done, we will be fully done with grants and with property sales and things of that nature, replenish that money over time. So that's why it was important to try and have a budget where we didn't continue drawing more to fill up gaps in funding. And this year we finally got there. So
Good work. To all involved.
I noticed that. And maybe that's where, well, it must have been where we had it, but the mayor and council discretionary funds that we just spoke of are budgeted substantially lower.
correct.
We anticipate spending less. Was that also?
I don't think Jake was here for that budget workshop.
I missed one,
I think
So-
that was. the-
because I didn't get an email about it.
So
I'm just
the-
saying.
It's
But we
been-
won't mention that again.
So we actually matched so years past the discretionary fund, this is 5 years, 4 years ago. The discretionary matched what we brought in lot rents, even
Right.
though it becomes public money. That was what was earmarked as discretionary. We increased that over the last couple of years and added in extra money to it beyond just that. This is now returning us to that.
That's
Along.
returning to historic levels.
Correct.
Okay, I just,
So this budget's trying to back off budget and spending that we've increased over the years that we're trying to tighten our books.
are we allowed to do that? Cut spending?
Well,
I
That's
hope
great.
so.
Trying to.
I was just making sure that we were meaning to do that.
And that's been, that discretionary allowed for, certain times where we'd have meals at town hall for the employees for like holidays or something that they're on or go towards plaques to recognize, leading employees.
Senior after prom. They used to come and ask for like $500, help sponsor that. We did that for years.
So,
Yeah, we did.
No, I believe you.
So-
Yeah.
so now really the burden now is
Got
gonna be,
enough money up there, they could figure it out.
Okay,
the burden for those things is gonna fall on the individual departments and what they're authorized to spend for those types of things, instead of having the mayor and the council give departments
All
extra
for
money.
cut, and I just didn't want.
That's why that,
I didn't want it to be an issue in about 6 weeks or whatever.
no, it's just returning to what it was. But that's all it was used for.
maybe some further view things change.
Basically,
That's what it looks like.
if something comes up that we'll have to
Right,
come to
right.
council and say, hey, this is what we got. Can we get more money for this type
Right,
of
right.
thing?
Oh, I know, we can still change it all up
Yeah.
until
Yeah.
then, but
Oh,
that was I guess my big question on that. Everything else was, I was here and I remember talking
Right.
about,
Councilman Stetler, not Stetler.
that's me.
Yeah, not you, I know. Widener, I definitely agree with you. School's got a lot more money than we.
Yeah, so
Yes,
they can
yes.
fund their own.
Yes, they do. But it was this, used to be the students that would come to request the funding. So,
They need to go request it from their own.
so, any other questions? Have we moved? we're in discussion, right?
I don't think we've had a motion in a second. I think we
Did
just
we
kind
need
of,
to go into public
Okay,
hearing on that?
Pardon?
that's the third, that'll be the third
Oh, we don't need a public hearing on
That's,
each of
yeah,
them.
that'll be the final hearing.
Move we approve the budget as presented.
I'll second it.
Been moved by Councilman Stetler, seconded by Councilwoman Hardkey, that we approve the fiscal year 2026 budget as presented. Any further discussion?
I had one, and that was on the airport. I think we have budgeted $500 there.
That's a very good point, because we were talking about putting fencing
Fence. And Mike Quiver mentioned he was going to
in.
get us a cost of whether it was materials and they did it, or it was a bid or whatever, just so we knew what it was like.
Yeah, we don't have that number from Mike, and when we get that number, then we can.
We could still make adjustments
Yeah.
next 2 years. So
Yes, correct.
I remember we were talking about that at one of our workshops. But everything else is fine. I don't have no question. I just wanted to bring that, shed some light just to maybe see where Mike is, and I can reach out to him too.
And I think, another thing is exactly what we're gonna do for a flagpole. We haven't decided on that. But that's not a big ticket item,
Yeah,
but it's something. And
absolutely.
and we may come, we may have some anticipated revenue on the equipment we're selling.
True.
I don't know, but yeah. Good point. Anything else, anybody? None being, all in favor, say aye.
I,
Aye, pose the same, motion, that's all the affirmative, thank you, everybody, for that. Went smooth. Pat, Economic, Events Committee recommendation. Chairman. Co-jive. Or.
Yeah.
Or
whatever.
co-chair. Who's all involved, we have several economic development, we have. Councilman.
Widener,
Wagner
Harkey,
and
Jennifer, myself, and
Jennifer, yeah,
John. Meyer.
so. Who's gonna do the honors? To read the recommendation?
I got all the information here, so I'll
That's what I thought, I didn't wanna make an assumption it would be you,
He's the reader.
Jennifer could have came and spoke up, yeah.
we'd be here all night, so I'll speak.
She's talking, not me.
So we met on Thursday to consider TAD funding as well as consideration of remaining economic development funding that was budgeted for this year, but has not been allocated or awarded for this fiscal year, and which will expire June 30th and not be available going forward since the half-cent tax measure failed. The first that was considered was TAD funding for five applications from 4 entities. And we had $5,940 left of this fiscal year. That includes carryover from last year, plus what we didn't spend earlier this year, fiscal year, and also expires. So one thing we considered is monies available that are available as of now through June 30th. June 30th or July 1st, we will receive 9,800 additional funding to award out in a secondary round. So this is the first one. With that in mind, we received those four entities with 5 requests, speed trials through the crossroads of Wyoming. So the requests, they are full financial estimated cost was provided, and through that, the request was $500. The committee designated $1,250 was the recommended amount to award for the various aspects of the cost for that event that fit under advertisement or promotion of the event. In addition, $500 was awarded through the was recommended for the economic development for that event for a total of $1,750. 2 different funding sources, 2 different purposes. The $500 would pay for things that are not advertising specific, but allow the event to take place. The TAD money has strings attached as far as what it can be spent on specifically. That sometimes an event doesn't, it's not promotion that costs the event, it's other things that cost the event to take place. Whether it be having to hire personnel, you can't hire personnel with TAD for an event, whatever, those types of things, or the cost of putting on the event for reserving space or insurance and things of that nature. So that's why they were looked at separately. The second one was the car show concert day in the park through Shoshoni Hot Summer Nights. Of TAD, $1,000 was requested, 1,000 was recommended. And on the economic development side of it, 3,000 was requested, 3,000 was recommended. Again, that is paying for like concerts and musicians can't be paid for out of TAD. I think Du Bois got in trouble for that or had some controversy a few years ago by using TAD money to pay for a musician or a concert, if I remember correctly. Right? I'm not saying the town specifically, but the committee that was running the money at the time.
There was some controversy over not all the paperwork filled out properly for TAD. That's what I remember. I don't remember a musician, but it could have been in the past. I do not.
And then the so that's what that was recommended for. One was for advertising the event, one was for paying for the musician. The second one was Shoshoni on Summer Nights, a 3-on basketball tournament of TAD. Also, the committee agreed to raise the maximum amount that you could request through TAD from 1,000 to 2,000, just because trying to utilize the money for events. Also, now that the economic funding is going away for events and things of that nature, there's less money available. So we're trying to maximize the amount of money versus the amount of applications we get for funding. So we're not giving money back essentially. So we're spending it where it's requested and making it for the best purpose, which is economic development events in Shoshone area. So 2,000 was requested out of TAD for the 3-on-3 basketball tournament. And the economic development side, 5,000 was requested and recommended as well. That's for things that are spelled out in the application, but it essentially is for the cost of referees, cost of the equipment, the cost of the materials to put on the show as far as painting the sidewalks, clean up the trash bags, all the different things that go into it. We have to pay the refs for each game. And last year we had over 100 teams. And Jordan probably know better than me how many total games that was, but it was around 200. Each team is guaranteed 3 games. So multiply that, 50 times 350.
Yeah, I think last year we played 500. I'd have to look at my email, but I think it was 500 and some games were played last year.
It
And
was
so
busy.
we try to use volunteers, but it's getting harder to get people to volunteer. So we have to pay refs per game to coach. And so you can just do the math, how that adds up pretty quickly to put on this event, as well as things like the DJ, because we have live music and things like that. All the other aspects that go into it that aren't covered by TAD going to the event. So last year, the total cost of the event was close to $20,000 to put it on. So it's not cheap to put it on. Well, I guess you could probably do it, but it wouldn't be done right. It wouldn't be done very popular. It wouldn't have very good results. So that's why those are out there. And again, these are reimbursements, so it has to be spent to get it back. It's not just a free check. Here you go.
Right.
Unlike other places, it's something that you spend it, you turn the receipts, and you get reimbursed. So if you spend 2,000, you're awarded 5,000, you get 2,000. So it's not free money. So there is checks and balances with this process that it's one of those business where you spend it, you get reimbursed if accepted. The one I didn't put on here was the Boys in Marina, or sorry, the Flywheelers. And they requested 2,000. That's my fault. I did have their application on here, though.
I think it's at the very end.
It is. They requested 2,000 in TAD, and that's what, the committee also agreed was appropriate for that. And the Flywheelers is, so they do the tractor show, on the west end of town. It's a 2-day event. They have a lot of vendors. They're supposed to have a vendor list to us by the next meeting. And then they have the tractor, parade, I guess you could call it, that goes through, sit down Second Street and then runs back around.
It's a tractor drive,
Yeah,
because if it's a parade, you
Yeah.
gotta get a permit from YDOT.
loopholes.
They do it on First Street.
They go down Second Street.
They go down First Street too.
They wrap around.
Yeah, they wrap around.
The parade's on First Street, the drive's on. Second.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. There, yeah, we can work with that.
Yeah.
So. I see the remaining funds is kind of zeroed out without flywheelers in there.
We have
Yeah.
another poll that it can come from the Economic Development Fund.
So there's an error
Yeah.
there. That's my fault. I'll fix that. So 1,000 of it was coming, or 1,300 of it was coming out of TAD, and 700 of it was gonna come out of economic development. Is that right? I just, the breakdown, the math works out. I just screwed up.
We zeroed that out because if we don't spend it by the 30th, it's gone.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm all for that. I just.
No, good catch.
I was like, well, I see these
Yeah.
being zeroed out and I don't see the flywheelers in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was my fault. Like I said, I was up kind of late. Numbers were. But I was noticing
On
that.
the farmer's market deal. Is that you? Okay, because we
I
had the
know.
other permit for, okay, I didn't know, I mean. what
He's
kind of-
not getting permitted to sell jelly.
I was asking if this was the jelly people or you.
have a lot more criteria they have to go through to even get approved to be a vendor with my market. We will go by the guidelines for all the food regulations and all the above. I need to stand up. I knew it.
And introduce yourself.
I'm Jennifer Shano. I've done the farmer's market previously. The last one was not a Shoshoni farmer's market. It was a market of some sort. With my market, I shut it down for a while because of some stuff going on. But I have an application each vendor has to fill out and get approval. And with my market too, they pay a certain amount every market. And that's also to cover like for advertisements and all the above. But
Is that a flat fee or depending on their sales?
it's a flat fee.
Okay.
And then, I also, in the previous, and I'm starting to talk back to some of them. I've had phone calls, from people in Laramie. I've had the college reach out to me because they have a, ag area now. And then, I have a gentleman, when I worked at Child Development Services, I went through a CACFP training. And I have more help with this market than I did in the past. Where a lot more agriculture people will actually come in and help regulate the guidelines. Because honestly, the other market, they did not have any guidelines. And with my market, we have to have guidelines or we will be shut down and the town can be in trouble. And we don't want that for this future market. That's all I have.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No jelly.
That jelly was almost addicting.
Yeah, you know why?
You couldn't stop eating.
Yeah, it's hard to, it's good. I still have some rattled, haven't used it all.
Keep you up at night, does it?
In any event, we can all have a good laugh about that. Geez, that jelly was good. It's,
And I apologize, Jake, you're right. So the reason it's not on here is that because July 1st, some of these events are taking place after July 1st.
right,
So the money's getting kicked. So that 2,000 is included. I said, put it on there. That's why I got missed. So it's going to come out of 9,800 that starts July 1st. So we're awarding all the projects, but these are what's being paid out this, but that way it's awarded. So I'll add that to this and I'll fix that. But the 2,000 for the flywheelers is part of this. Sorry about that.
I move we approve the TAD Economic Events Committee recommendation as presented with the explanation.
I'll second.
moved by Councilman Stetler, second by Councilwoman Hardkey, that we approve the TAD Economic Events Committee recommendations as presented with explanations. Any further discussion? None being, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Oppose the same. Motion passed, all in the affirmative.
And where the error was made was the Boys and Marina also requested 2,000 that we awarded, as well as the flywheelers and under economic development, and I transposed them. My bad.
It'll buff out.
Oh, no.
Well, it looks, it's on here, but it looks like the Boys and Marina was requesting 3,300 and they got awarded twice. So that extra $700 balance that you see that's remaining in economic development. So the Boys and Marina, they got 2,000 for economic development. That's where their award was. The flywheelers got 1,300 from TAD and 700 from economic development, which zeroes out both sides. So it's all listed there. I just put the wrong name and I forgot to add them in there. So it's all averages out.
Not a big deal.
But I will fix that and repost that online so it's there.
So it's correct.
Yep.
Uh,
You caught me. I made a mistake.
Well, that's your one for the year.
the fiscal year is almost over.
The joys of being a human.
Yeah.
Whoa,
Chief
what did I
of-
just do?
Chief, do you have a report for us? I think we've had some interesting things go on lately.
Well, that's a different month, so you'll have to wait till next month for that report.
Okay,
I trail a month.
that's allowed.
So April, obviously, we are starting to gear up for summer and starting to see that type of, stuff happening in town. Alcohol related things like Reddit reports start, going up, more people out drinking, more people in general and whatnot. So those started increasing, as well as what usually we get is domestics and disorderly conduct and things of that nature start to increase as summer gets here. Obviously, this is April. We still had some cold weather, warm weather, kind of everything in between. Our total calls for service for the month, with the exception of 2023, we're up month over month from the last 3 years, each year. Overall, we're still over on calls from 2022, 2023, and we're down slightly from last year. So this is a good trend. But last year, we had an increase every year. So this is 1 month. I can tell you right now in May, we're not going to be down from 2024. We're going to be well over. Things have already gotten quite busy in May. We did serve one warrant here in town. That was served at a residence, as well as 2 arrests on warrants. Controlled substance continues to be an issue, and I will say that I've had conversations with the county attorney, and I'll go ahead and just tell you this now, that I've instituted a 0 tolerance policy on being under the influence of controlled substance in public. If you're out in public and you're high, and it's still to the point that it's noticeable that you're high, you're going to jail. No questions asked. We're done.
We got a new county attorney, don't we?
Well, this is their deputy county attorney, but they're in agreement with me that what they're sick of is in Riverton and other. I'm not bagging on Riverton. I'm not bagging anywhere else. is that it's a rinse and repeat. You come across someone that is high on meth and they're acting out, you just move them along, move them along, move them along. And I'm not doing that. So if someone is under the influence to the extent that they catch law enforcement's attention because of their activity while they're being under the influence of something in public, they're going to go to jail. That's just zero tolerance. We're done. So that's one thing that has been instituted. Obviously, in May, we served those search warrants and started to crack down on some of that distribution and things of that nature here in Shoshone. This is no longer a free haven. That's no longer a place that if you want to try and run from the cops in Riverton, the county, Lander, come to Shoshone because you can get away with it. I'm here to tell you you're not going to. And quite frankly, that kind of goes hand in hand with the zero tolerance thing. I'm done. We're done.
So you can't eat your jelly and go out in public.
You have to stay in the house, Joel.
They've eaten the jelly, yeah.
Stay home, yeah.
Stay home, yeah.
Be in the bathtub.
We're just not going to put up with it anymore.
Good job.
Yeah, Chris, thank you.
Appreciate
I
the
think that's-
continued effort.
That makes us look good as a town.
No. I also believe, I can at least speak for my neck of the woods, there's been some enforcement and there's been, well, anyway, there seems to be a lot less dog issues.
And I mean, those have been issues that have come up from time to time in council, outside of council, phone calls, text messages that I've gotten from various council people here, from time to time. So it's an ongoing issue, but we're trying to hit the side streets. We're trying to see the dogs, we're trying to hold them accountable, and we're trying to do what we can to get people to be better with their dogs. I mean, it's just, I wish I could explain, if you have a dog, why don't you, do what you're supposed to do with the dog? But it's one of those things where they do better for a week or two. I think as some of you can attest, and then 2 weeks later, it's right back to what it was. So, there's still more work to be done on that front and coming up with better solutions. But yeah, right now we're trying to do everything all at once. And in between our free time with traffic and search warrants and things of that nature, patrolling the town and just being out visible and trying to keep the dogs under control when they do get out and hold the owners accountable when we do catch them.
Well, having a strong police department, a great leader in our PD, that protects our people. I don't know, people really look at the whole big picture, but this is part of economic development. Help to bring people here that want to live here. I'm talking with Curry Rail Car System, our school system, our law enforcement, the culture we're trying to build here is good, but law enforcement is a big part of it. A lot of people don't look at that. And oh, by the way, I caught reference in our speed trap we have in Shoshone. We trapped somebody again and they were doing 70 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Isn't that a speed trap? 70 and a 30. I'm just saying. 70 and a 30. Trap work, we caught them. I don't know what they're gonna post on Facebook. I got busted for 35 and a 30. I don't, but yeah, 70 miles an hour
Ridiculous.
this morning.
I guess maybe if they hit 160, they might be able to get out of the speed trap.
I don't know, but anyway, I just.
We're watching Back to the Future, when you get 88 miles per hour, you're gonna see some shit.
Chris might have to park the patrol car and get the vet out to keep up. But
Why are you gonna throw that out there?
We
I always drive the
run
speed
out
limit
there
everywhere
with
I go.
the
no, I'm saying to keep up with the speeders. Your patrol car, I don't know if it's gonna keep up at 160.
I don't know what it, ask Marshall, if the town, pay my car payment if I use it for patrol cars. That
I'm not too sure my ticket, go ahead.
Well, I like the lights idea for the event. I think
Yeah, I
that's
do too.
awesome. Yeah.
We used to,
Get some for it.
Having
can
quick.
I get a per diem for, the cost of the car? I mean,
We only within 50 miles.
we at one time, we had a 66 GTO as a police car in town. We also had a 1971 Roadrunner as a police car. Cause the town didn't buy the police car, the officer. Or we had one, at the time, you know, provided his own car and we paid him. Whatever we paid him to provide the police car. So we had, and I ended up buying that old used police car. It had a 389 tri-power with a 4-speed. 1966 GTO, yeah.
Was that white one you had or the red one?
No, neither one of them. This is actually it was a 66
Oh,
GTO.
Get him talking on cars. We will be here till 3 o'clock in the
Sorry.
morning.
enough of the cars, Joel.
Okay. So,
Yeah.
but any event, just a little bit of history.
Appreciate
Little bit of history. See, before I interrupt you, what were we doing, chief?
I don't know. We're talking about fast
I
cars.
just-
Council wanted to buy me a Corvette, I guess, so.
Well, I'm just gonna say thanks for our police department setting the standard rather than adopting the standard. So nice to have somebody that's, our police force that's proactive and setting the standard rather than adopting the standard. So appreciate that.
No, we have something to be proud of here in Shoshone. We have many things, but that is one, our PD. Great. Any other comments, questions for the chief? Oh, chief, could you talk a little bit about the award you just received?
Oh,
Yeah.
That was in May though,
Huh?
but that was in May.
yeah.
We're gonna talk about it
Well, it
next
was
month.
recently.
He's gonna talk about it
You wanna
next
talk
month.
about next month? You can. I just thought about it. So it's fresh on your mind.
Well, I hope I get it right. I was asked to be at a Mason's awards dinner. And so I went there. I didn't know. I mean, sometimes I know they're have dinners and banquets and, invite, people to that, and they do things with the kids. So, and then, they had this guy in a purple jacket and Matt was there with me since I didn't have, I'd have a +1. So I invited Matt since, I had spaced it out a little bit, so I didn't have anybody else to go with me. So Matt was here, so he went with me and it's free food and he's going to go. So there was a guy in a purple jacket. Matt's like, anyone that wears a purple jacket has got to be somebody important. I was like, it looked like a Grimace from, McDonald's or something. It's like all purple, like just very ostentatious. So during the awards that he gets up and they bring up my name and he was there as a cryptic Masons International Grand Master. Is that
He's the
correct?
Grandmaster of Wyoming,
Okay.
Cryptic Masons.
I'm
But
trying to
The
get it right.
award comes from the international.
And so for first responders, the Masons I nominate and review candidates for their award, international or nationally. Don't want to screw it up. I think it says international, but
I don't know. It's the only one in the world that runs it. So
I was nominated as the police chief here in Shoshone, and the Mason delegation or their committee saw fit to bestow that on me and award me with that recognition for my service to the community and first responders in general. And so it was a very humbling and honored thing to be a part of. So I appreciate it.
Okay, can you speak a little bit more about the award, or do you think you need to add anything besides what Chris added?
that's just kind of the sentiment that the way it's sentiment was that it's the way that you try to police the community, you really care. You don't try to rough ride anybody. You're not trying to.
You have a speed trap.
Yeah. Yeah, but you have a speed. No, it's just that your genuine care of the community as a whole and all the extra effort and work put into it. And so the cryptic Masons are looking to recognize people like that where they can be found to encourage more. We need more people with your dedication. And it's great to be present there and see you get that award. And it was mentioned to me later that it was really nice to see somebody that was so moved by the true appreciation of what you're doing. So,
Well, I generally appreciate it.
and and the sentiment was that it was although before there was no question, it was a great selection afterwards, after like the guys from out of town got to meet you, it was reaffirmed that it was a great selection, so.
The approval came from the international.
Right, at the Fremont County group sent it to the state level, who reviewed it, who sent it to the national level, who approved it.
This,
I think I got it right.
yeah, it was, and this is, you know,
But it
a
might
great recognition.
International, I don't know on that one, if it's international or national, but there's only one in the whole world, so it doesn't matter.
So, you know, it is. It was a well-deserved award. Well-deserved. Anything else for the chief? Nothing being, we'll move on down. Mark, you have anything?
We have the Kim Cundle thing for.
Oh, I forgot Ken, we didn't.
That's
Okay,
a-
Ken, yeah, no. Oh yeah, that's on the round table, I was doing that. I'm gonna do that. Towards the end, huh?
He's going, everybody else first.
Yes.
Okay,
Councilman Nordy.
I just have a few things. I just wanted to. When Joe was home and she saw the fire in the lot to the west of our property, she was a bit concerned. It's a big lot and it has lots of dead material on it. And when the flames when the fire would hit a sage brush, it would just spike. I mean, it was pretty impressive. She was pretty worried about it. She called Kathy, called the town, town hall, and Kathy was able to mobilize everybody. Within 2 minutes, like I said earlier, we had one of your police officers showed up, a woman, I can't remember her name. But anyway, she was there and then she, ascertained the situation and she got everybody there. I mean, we had the fire department, we had more police officers. And of course, I was in Riverton and not here. Things like that always happen when I'm not here.
I'm gonna tell you a secret about police officers.
Yeah.
Whenever we come across a fire, our sworn duty is to put it out before the firefighters show up.
Is that on the bingo tickets too?
So anyway, the fast response, without a question, I mean, it was a windy day, not windy, but there was wind.
Yeah.
And it was not a great time to be.
you shouldn't have been burning.
No, it shouldn't have been. And it just, particularly with the fuel that was there, I mean, it was ready to go up and it did. So you can drive by and see the packs now. But the point is that, I mean, the response was great. Our house was saved. Our dogs were saved. Joe piles the dogs into the car. We're getting out of here after everybody was there. And, but it was just taken care of so well and so professionally. We just really, really appreciate the service that you provided us. So thank you. I just really want to say
I'll let her know. Thank you.
Got to have lunch dinner last week with the Curry Rail Service. Joe asked me to attend that meeting. It was down at Sweeler's, which I've never been there. No, actually, I was there once before, but that was like 15 years ago. So it was fun to go, kind of go, yeah, I've been here before. And but I just think that the town has a really great company that's coming down. Good people. The gentleman that was there representing Curry was excellent about education for the employees that they have. So being from the college, that was a big part of our discussion. What can we do with the wellness certificates and they get their workforce trained, which the college is all about this. I mean, this really works well for the types of things we'd like to do. We were able to provide services for the community education services. So it seems like Curry's really excited to be here as well. I mean, so it's like, this seems like a really good match, a really good, things put together. So Mr. Mayor, thank you for all your work you did to put this together. I mean, when you drive by the rail, the rails down there or repair shop, Curry's on the side. If you look up, it's on the cable. So you can see it right there. So they're looking forward, obviously they're looking forward to coming here, moving here and getting things going. So anyway, that's gonna be such a great industry for our town. I just really appreciate that. So thank you again.
Well, I think we got lucky and we got a good. Really, they're a family-owned business. I think they're a good corporation, in my research.
Well, you know, when the right things line up, good things happen.
Yes.
You know, and it lined up that way for them and for us in Shoshone. So the last question that I had here was we had talked about this was a few meetings ago, about a review of the trailer guidelines and ordinances. You were gonna be doing that. Do you remember that? Where's the status? Where we at? What's going on?
Yeah, I do remember that, and I actually just emailed that to Joel, so I forgot to send that out.
Okay. Well, good. I think
Yeah,
it's-
I did make a draft, I forgot to send it out since the last meeting.
Okay. I just was curious, because I think it's really important for the town.
Yes.
You know, it's really, really important for the town and, you know, the town always, any town, doesn't matter where, always looks ugly late spring, you know, before the things start to turn green. They just do. But it's pretty obvious there's a lot of cleanup that needs to be done and a lot of things happening, and people need to follow through on their permits to be able to put skirting and other things around the trail. There's just things that just aren't getting done. You know, and you know, we have Curry coming in, we've got a great police force, we've got a great school, we've got a great town, and it's just Shoshone pride, really, that we're talking about.
Yes.
So anyway, I wanted to just bring that up, and I'm looking forward to seeing what you wrote. So thank you. I'm done.
To piggyback off of Mark, I would like to go into executive session as a whole. When we have time, I know I didn't put it in there, didn't have time, but it's something that needs to be talked about.
Falls under the guidelines of executive sessions, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I mean, it's something we, you know, can't single a person out type thing, so.
Would the council, I know this not on our agenda,
And I can add it to the next one, but
I'm just asking.
It'd probably be better now that you're at the end of the meeting to have it added at the end.
That's
Or
what I'm
the next one,
added to the next meeting.
yeah, if it's not pressing.
just depends on how quick things roll. It could be pressing.
Well,
then
but you gotta figure out whether it falls under one of the statutes first too.
True. Which I guess I could visit with you about before.
If you needed to, call a special meeting.
Yeah, we
Just
can have a meeting tomorrow if it's that pressing.
Okay.
Or the day after.
Or
Just
day
for-
I will be gone. We're leaving tomorrow for Virginia, so,
Okay,
but you'll still have a quorum.
Just pertaining to town limits.
But
I wonder
If it's what I-
call a recess.
if it's what I think it is, I don't think it's gonna qualify as an executive session.
Okay,
If it's what I think it is.
I'll visit with Marshall, because I don't want to talk about it in public.
Sure.
In case there's any retaliation.
Yeah, no, I was just saying, I don't think it's offhand it's gonna qualify, but if it's what I think it is.
You're probably right.
have a discussion after the meeting, or we could have a recess. Have we talk to Marshall or?
Well, you'd still have to know what it's about beforehand and that.
Right.
Advertise and then vote to go into executive session, that's the issue.
Yeah, we should have brought it up at the beginning of the meeting.
That's fine.
Just as an emergency, I'm just trying to figure out how to.
It's
to
not,
accommodate that if
it's
it-
not necessarily an
Okay.
emergency, but it
Okay.
needs addressed.
Okay, very good. Talk to Marshall. set up the next meeting. Sounds good. If it's an emergency, we can call a special meeting. Good. Okay. Anything else, Councilman? Councilman Lady,
I got nothing.
Councilman. Yeah, one thing I wanted to touch about is the Ken Cundle, I nominated him for a Wham Zero Award. I would like to, do we have that? Will we put it on screen any chance?
It's up there.
Okay. But it's for, the last 55 years as a resident of Shoshone, the many things he's done. It's, think I need to read it, or we got an extra minute to read this? Let me just, this is my letter to the board of directors of the Wyoming Association of Municipalities. It's my honor to nominate Ken Cundle of Shoshone. Ken has been a contributing resident of Shoshone area since 1970. He came to us as Western Director for Wyoming State Parks and the station in Boyson State Parks near Shoshone. Ken was also involved with the Shoshone Boyson State Walleye Fishing Tournament with a $10,000 tag fish. Ken did a lot to promote business in Shoshone and the area and the state. This is a great event with anglers from across the state. Even the governor came up one year and tagged the $10,000 fish. Ken was involved with many of the events that we have had in Shoshone over the years that have been good for the town of Shoshone, Fremont County, and the state of Wyoming. He was involved with the Wild West Carnival that was big for nearly 25 years. Ken was instrumental in starting the Wild West Winter Carnival that was held on Boyson. In the mid-80s, Ken traveled to Great Lakes area and attended conference in Minneapolis about snowmobile speed run. He made a bid to have the final race of the season to hold the high altitude speed runs at Boyson Reservoir near Shoshone and was awarded the contract for the race. What an accomplishment and vision Ken had. Ken worked diligently with the Chamber of Commerce and Business in Fremont County to make the event happen. Ken was president of the Wild West Carnival for the first 5 years of its existence. This is a great economic boom for local businesses. They also had the Budweiser Snow King dragster for exhibition racing. Boyson Reservoir was the highest elevation of any of the races held for the quarter-mile drag races. There are many other events held at the Wild West Carnival besides races. We played softball. I did that. With orange softballs on the lake, as well as golf, which was very popular with the orange golf balls. Softballs were orange also. In the mid-80s, Ken was involved in improving the shooting range south of Shoshone and acquiring a BLM lease for the site, which has been in operation without one for near 30 years. It was illegal, but it was there. 2018, Ken was very important keeping the shooting range open for more upgrades. He continues to manage the shooting range to this day. Ken was past park superintendent from Guernsey 4 years, Glendale 4 years, prior to coming to Shoshone. He retired from state parks in 1992 after 30 years. When Ken retired, he stayed very busy in snowmobile life. After retiring Wyoming State Parks, he fulfilled contracts for grooming snowmobile trails around Toby for 4 years and the Gros Ventre and Green River areas for another 6. Ken was a member of the Shoshone Town Council. In fact, he's the one that got me involved with city government. There was a vacancy in 2010. Ken asked me if I would submit a letter of interest to fill out the term. Only 6 months, he said. The rest is history. Let's just touch on some of the things. Shoshone School Board, 6 years. Bighorn Basin's Children's Center for 4 years. Town Council, 20 years. Founder and supporter of the Wild West Winter Carnival, Boyson Reservoir, 20 years. Shoshone Rec Board, 30 years. still serving on the 31st. Shoshoni Senior Center, current chairman, he's been there 16 years and he is in his 17th. Shoshoni Senior District, that's the elected board that controls the funding. 4 years and still serving. He's the current chairman. Shoshoni Shooters Club, 8 years. Shoshoni Rifle Club, 8 years and serving on his 9th. State Parks, 30 years, 22 years in Boyson. Bull Lodge Mason member, 61 years. He's been a Mason. A Shiner member, 56 years. York Rights member, 58 years. And I forgot to add that the Fly-Wheelers, the tractor show, he was one of the original founding members of that, and they're in their 29th year. He's done a lot. But in closing, Ken is committed to helping Shoshoni and the surrounding area ever since he's came here. I do not know anyone in Shoshoni that knows Ken that does not respect him. Ken is very much a problem solver with a calm and cool approach. Does not get excited for almost anything. He's a great ambassador of the town of Shoshoni. And I presented that to the Wham State Board. I'm on the board, but I was not present at that meeting because of the conflict with the FCAD. But they've selected him. And one of the reasons I'd like to bring this up, Marcia, if you had a chance to review, we talked about what we've used in our discretionary fund, and I know we can't, he does not fit the definition to pay for the motel room. It'd be a motel room for one night, it's $110. Would, if we paid for it out of our fund we've used in the past, the same fund that we paid for the seniors prom party and that such, they haven't requested for 2 years to do that, but I just want to talk to the council and get your sentiment on it.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't think it really matters where the money comes from. It's still the town's money. So what happens is, I'm not saying one way or the other. You just have to decide if, what he did was necessary and what he's going to be doing to get reimbursed by the town is necessary as part of what he's doing for whatever reason. As a volunteer, same thing, just like an employee, just can't. It's got to be the council's going to have to determine if it's not a necessary expenditure. That's all.
It seems like the least we could do.
Yeah.
I don't disagree. Is there any potential issues from outside? Can somebody outside raise hell and create this into a bigger problem than it is if we go this route?
So again, it's up to you guys to determine if what he's doing serves the interest of the town and it's a necessary travel or payment for it.
I think he's being a continued ambassador for the town.
I don't disagree, but when I mention this,
Yeah.
I mention for an individual that we all know, and showing up here, creating hell over this.
Well, I had concern if he would fit under that guideline.
Okay.
But in the past, that's how we funded, like from that funding there, because it was not derived from taxes.
Is he going to Wham?
It's a very broad definition as to what it's up to you all to determine.
Okay.
Is he going to Wham?
You understand?
He is going to Wham.
Well,
Wham
that's-
is gonna.
Well, that'd be
provide-
representative of the town at
Yes.
city function at Wham then. I mean, that's all I'd say to the
I
council.
just want to be, because the same concerns Jordan brought up, I had the same concerns. So, I mean, I just wanted to bring it up, and we thought we needed to talk about that.
If we determine that it's necessary travel to represent Shoshoni at that event, then it would be legal.
If you all determine it's
Yes.
necessary.
I feel it's very necessary.
too.
We always talk about economic development, and, all this promoting the town. That's a huge promotion. It puts Shoshoni in a good light on a state level. And I think that that is necessary for the town,
It helps promote what we're,
trying to
have
do.
a citizen like it, and it's, and then they make they make a big deal out of it down in Wham. It's,
Is that in Cheyenne or?
it's in Cheyenne.
And Joel, you didn't mention either that Wham is paying for his meals.
Yeah, I'm getting to that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're paying for his meal and his son's driving him down there, his son and his wife, so there's gonna be four of them, and Wham's paying for all four meals. The son and daughter have a place to stay, but Ken and Deanna don't.
I don't see any issue.
I don't see an issue either.
Okay, I didn't either, but we had to have,
I
we should
think
have
that
this discussion.
Town would get more benefit out of him going for
Than
the
100.
award than me going to sit there in them meetings. I'm just saying, I think it'd have more positive benefit for the town as a whole.
Well, yeah, all the representatives from across the state are there and it's, I actually wanted to do that last year, but I missed the darn deadline.
I think it's a small gesture for the amount of devotion he's had here.
Oh, I agree 100%. So this, we don't need to vote on, this is just a talk about.
Yeah.
That's all, I just wanted sort of a consensus. We have the money to do it, I just wanted to do it.
It might be good to take a vote on it, so it's a matter of record.
I don't know if we can vote on it in a round table, because that's typically not where you can vote on it. We can vote to approve the bill when it turns in.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, that's what your policy that you all just voted on stated, so that's good.
That works.
But it would be, we could vote on it for pre-approved travel too. Because that's our policy.
I don't think you need a vote for pre-approved. I think just
No.
inform the council a consensus that's pre-approved by council's consensus vote
Right.
or statement.
In a round table, we can have
So
action.
they just give that one award out per year? Or
Yes. They could give two out, but only one from our region. I don't know if anybody else, there could be another one.
only one from our region? per
Yeah.
year. What is our region?
Fremont County, Shoshoni County. We're region 4. But it's it's a high standard
Yeah.
to get this award. You gotta have a pretty, I've seen it, but I don't know if I've seen. Oh, I'm prejudiced. I don't know if I've seen anybody any more deserving than Ken. They're all been very deserving.
Well, it'll help get our town advertised in a positive light, him receiving that award,
Agreed. I think it's,
thereby making it a necessary travel. It's my personal opinion.
that's mine also.
Let's make it happen.
Okay. Appreciate it. It's, I'll try to cut short. We've spent, Curry Rail, Carl had a good visit with him before Mark put the hammer on, we tag team. And Mark was the perfect guy because they had questions about the college. We had a really good conversation, Joel, there. Mark, did they talk to you on expanding and potential growth out of this facility?
Oh, they did, and they just, of course, we're going to see what
You bet.
transpires, but yeah, they did.
They were pretty optimistic.
Yeah.
On that, they're a good corporate partner. We still have some other business entities looking to locate in our area. We're getting comments, I talked to one that said we're gained on, we're looking better, but we still need to do more in our corridor. And, 2nd Street and Idaho Street. We need to do more. We still need to do more, but it's looking better. But like you said, things will look a lot better. they said it's getting better, we need to do more, and that was another business looking at coming to Shoshone. But other than that, I think that's the important stuff.
I'll make the motion.
I have one thing.
Okay.
Our realtor signs, those need to be picked up outside of the town hall. The old town hall. And then I think we need to start looking at getting our property listed or a replacement, as we talked about in prior meetings and voted on. So I still see banners hanging,
We still have some obligation for town hall.
which that can stay, but all the other properties we
And
talked
we
about,
have
we
a-
already voted on.
We have an obligation also on the old B&B property.
Mm-mm.
No, we did not
We
at
did
that
not.
time. We did not have an obligation whatsoever. We did not.
It was just town hall.
It was just town hall. So,
Hey, where we messed up there is we did not select a new realtor and we did vote to list it. So it's already been listed.
As a bid.
As a
as a
bid.
bid,
Right.
Sure.
but that wasn't through the current realtor.
Well, I believe the realtor brought us, I know two people are planning to bid.
We already voted on moving on. He needs to get his signs outside of the thing he's working on currently, because that's what we voted on. And that was passed, so. That needs to be done. He's had over 2 months since that. And they're still up.
I believe he's brought, I don't believe, I know he's brought at least two people that's gonna bid on that, and they may be the only two to bid.
Well,
He brought them to the table.
okay. Still,
So I feel the city's obligated to pay the realtor fee.
Mm-mm.
no. Not on that piece of property.
That bid's coming to us.
They all
Supposed to
have
be.
to come to us regardless.
We can't.
I mean, the open
The
here.
realtor, yeah.
Nope.
Can I make a motion, we go home?
Second.
Been moved by Councilman Harkey, seconded by Councilman Nordine, that this meeting of the Shoshone City Council do close. Any further discussion? None being, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Both same, motion passed, meeting closed.
8:36.
8:30.